Hey everybody, my name is Emily. You may know me as AlternativeAMP if you live in the Cleveland area and you've been playing a lot of Pokemon Go lately. And the reason I am making this video is because I'm getting a lot of questions from people, from friends on Facebook. I see a lot of questions in Reddit threads, and these are questions that I can answer because I play a lot of games. I'm very competitive, and I like to win, and I like to be the best, like no one ever was, etc., etc. So I thought that it would be a good idea for me to bring some knowledge to you and kind of make this an ongoing thing the first couple days of Pokemon to help you get a little more assimilated with the game. If you have any questions, please leave them below. Okay, so let's literally start with Pokemon 101. Let's start with the basics. First of all, Pokemon Go is an augmented reality game. It is based off of the real world. So you'll walk around, you'll catch Pokemon. It's pretty fun. It's exciting. I catch a lot of things in my house, which is super cool. Thanks for that. I live in a pretty busy area, which is nice. It is based on population density, so if you live in a more rural area, I apologize. You're boned. That wasn't very nice of me. I'm sorry. So if you do live in a more rural area, you might have to do some travel, which is kind of frustrating because I think it would be super cool if they implemented, like, walks through the park and then other fun stuff like that. Like, if I climb Mount Everest, I want a Mewtwo. Literally, give me a Mewtwo. If I climb Mount Everest, that should be the only way you get one. Just fun stuff like that. I have a really cool series of parks near my house that I would love to go exploring, but I don't think there's a lot there, so I'm not quite sure how that would work out. I don't really want to waste my time, but that was one of the things I was really looking forward to in Pokemon Go, was the fact that I could go down to the park and go on a 3-mile hike and find some cool things, and apparently that is not the case. So hopefully they implement that at a later date, because I think that would be super cool. That is actually nothing to do with the game, though. So yeah, Pokemon based on density. So that's why, you go to a big city, you go downtown, you'll see a lot more PokeStops, you'll see a lot more gyms, you'll see a lot more Pokemon. My friend actually travels for work, and she's been texting me all day that she went downtown and she got so many cool Pokemon and blah, blah, blah. And then when my husband gets off work today, we are going downtown because we are going on a Pokemon journey, and I'm pretty pumped for it. So you start your game, you log in with probably a Gmail account. I know that there's the Pokemon Trainers Club accounts. They've been down for a couple days. I don't know if they're back up yet. So Gmail might be your safest bet. That means that you can log in from someone else's phone. That means that you can, if you decide to get a new phone, all your data is saved. You don't have to worry about anything like that, which is awesome. Thanks for that. So you do have a little bit that you can customize with your trainer. Let me see. I don't even know if I have a... So I'll throw up on the screen real quick. This is my trainer, and it's my beautiful Raticate that I took a gym down the street from my house. Anyway, you log into the game, and you create your avatar, and then the game only includes the first 150 Pokemon. So you're gonna, I think Mew might be in there too, so it might be 151. So you get your choice of starters. So you get the Bulbasaur, the Charmander, or the Squirtle, and the game essentially. So this is what the game is gonna look like. This is a beautiful picture of my blurry bathtub and the Charmander that I decided to go after. And you see the Pokeball, you see the Charmander, and you just swipe the Pokeball at the Charmander, and there's a little ring appears, and it'll get, like, it starts here, and then you get smaller, 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 smaller. And as long as you hit the Pokemon and you're, like, within the giant white circle, generally you will catch it, no problem there. The little ring gives you bonus experience if you happen to get it inside that ring. While it's larger, it is nice, which will give you an extra 10 experience, and if it's smaller, it's great, which will give you an extra 50 experience. I believe you can also do perfect, which I think is 100 experience, but if someone wants to let me know for sure. I got it once, and I was not paying attention, so I don't even know off the top of my head. Unfortunate, I apologize. So first of all, first thing I want to discuss is the main screen itself, because you get into the game and you're looking at it like, what is all of this? Lower left-hand corner, that is your trainer profile, that is you, that is your name, your trainer level, and your trainer picture. So if you click on that, you can see, your name up at the top, what your character looks like, your team, if you have one, how much experience you have and how much you need to level. You see your start date, how many coins you have, and all the medals you achieved. So if you click on a medal, it'll tell you a little bit more about that. And then if you click on journal, it'll tell you, what kind of Pokemon you caught. So for example, my last thing was Krabby ran away. That was very unfortunate. Then, you can see received items from the PokeStop. Okay, so if you go back to the main screen, you will see the little Pokeball icon in the bottom center. You can click on that, and there's a couple different buttons you can go through here. If you hit Tips, Professor Willow will go through a couple things with you. He'll tell you about gyms, he'll tell you about PokeStops, he'll tell you a little bit about Pokemon, I think. So pretty basic stuff, so stuff that, I don't know, if you're brand new to the game, maybe you should check it out. So then also on the screen, there's a couple other items you can click. Up at the top there is settings, so you can control the music, sound effects, vibration, battery saver mode, just lots of different various stuff. Over to the right hand side there's a little backpack and it says items, so if you click on that it'll tell you what all you have. So you can go through and see how many. If you have too many of a certain item, you can hit the little trash icon and it will delete it for you after you pick how many you want to delete. Every item has a little explanation underneath it to tell you a little bit more about it, so in case you have any questions. That is another thing, is that Pokemon don't heal on their own over time in this game. You actually have to use potions or super potions in order to heal them. Unfortunate. And then up at the top there is the Pokedex, and you can go through and see how many Pokemon you have and how many you're missing. And then there is the shop. And this is actually, there's a lot of information in here. So down at the bottom, if you scroll all the way down, you'll see that there are little microtransactions you can do inside the game. So you can buy coins, which you then use to buy things inside the shop. There are other ways to get coins, which I'm going to go over in another video because there's a little bit to it, and I just want to make sure that I give it enough attention. So that kind of sums up the little Pokeball icon. If you click on Pokemon, it'll take you to a list of all the Pokemon you have. If you go over to the right up at the top, you can see how many eggs you have and how far you've gone towards hatching them. So for example, I have 2 incubators right now. I have to go 4.5 kilometers on one and 2 kilometers on another one. So down on the lower right, you can organize the Pokemon up at the top. So you can go by recent, you can favorite them. To favorite something, you just click on the Pokemon and you hit the little star up in the right. You can go by number, so that's 1 through 150, how much health they have, they're alphabetical by name, or combat power, which is the most useful thing for me because I usually put my most strongest Pokemon ever in gyms, and that'll show you how many you still have. And actually there's a whole subject about that later that I would love to talk about, so I'm going to get into that probably in another video when I talk more about gyms. Alright, so if you go back to your main screen again, down in the bottom right hand corner you'll see a white rectangle, and in this rectangle are a couple Pokemon if you're lucky. If you're in the middle of nowhere and there's nothing nearby, there's probably nothing in there. So if you click on that box, you can see what is nearby. This screenshot here of my game has an Eevee with 2 footsteps, and I've got a couple Pidgeys, and I've got a Pidgeotto, and I've got a Rattata. The closest thing to you is going to be up in the top left, and the furthest thing away is going to be in the bottom right. If you're tracking a specific Pokemon, what you would do from this box is, like, say I wanted to track Eevee, I would highlight Eevee, and now you can see on the bottom, Eevee is 2 footprints away, which means I can go find him within 2 footprints. I will link a guide here in the section below if you want to check it out, and it will tell you a little bit more about, I mean, it's pretty basic. Like, if you walk one way and it gets closer, keep walking that way. If you walk another way and it gets further away, turn around. It's pretty basic stuff, so hard to mess up. I mean, this is pretty basic too. You can zoom in and you can zoom out, and you can, rotate your camera and see what's around in the area. So this gym near my house has been taken over by the yellow team, and if you click on that, you can see who is currently reigning. So it'll tell you the name, it'll tell you the gym level, it'll say, what kind of Pokemon is at it and what level that Pokemon is at. If there's more than one, you can scroll to the left or right and you will see everything that's there. So you're going to face them in the order of least tough, so lowest CP to most tough or highest CP. So a couple other basics. When you look at your screen and you see these blue floaty kind of things, they look like squares when you're far away, and then when you get closer they turn into kind of a circle thing. That is a PokeStop. So you click on that and you see the picture, and you spin it, and it will spin, and then items will pop up in the bubbles, and then you can pop all the bubbles, and you can get the stuff inside. So it's a lot of Pokeballs, you get eggs, you get potions, you get raspberries, you get Great Balls at a high enough level, stuff like that. So that's always fun. So when you start walking around, you will see Pokemon start popping up, and you see a little avatar of it, and you click on it if it's within range, and it'll fill your screen. It'll say a wild whatever appeared, and then you'll have to throw your Pokeball at it, and you will have to catch it. I mean, it's pretty basic stuff. Really, the only difficult thing is A, finding the Pokemon, and B, not wasting Pokeballs. So, especially if you live in an area without a lot of PokeStops, be precise with your throwing, because otherwise you're just wasting balls, then you're going to have to buy some, and that's just, you don't want to have to spend your money that way. So this is actually pretty convenient. I just had a Pidgey pop up. I'm going to throw some screenshots in here. So when a Pokemon pops up in the top right, there's an AR button. You can slide it off, and that will turn it into a normal background where the Pokemon will be centered. So let me show that, and then I'm going to keep it on for right now. Up in the top left, there is a button that says, it has a guy running, so pretty self-explanatory. It means you're running away. That means you don't want to capture the Pokemon, and you just run away, and that's fine if you don't feel like catching it, but I always recommend you catch it, and I'll get in more of that a little bit later, because that's how you power things up, so I'll talk about that. On the lower right, there's a camera button that'll take you to the camera function, and you can, take a photo. And then there's also, you can go to the pack, and when you open the pack, when you open the pack, if you have different types of Pokeballs, you can see them there. So for example, I have Pokeballs and Great Balls. I have some raspberries, and I have the camera, which is also highlighted. So I'm going to go more in depth into that later. And then the most important part is the Pokeball. So you have your Pokeball, and right next to the Pokeball, it'll tell you how many Pokeballs that you have. Now, when you hold down on the Pokeball, there's a little circle that's going to appear around the Pidgey, and the circle is going to get smaller as you hold down, and then it'll eventually reset. And just basically what that is kind of, consider it kind of like a bullseye target practice, that kind of thing. So you hold on to the Pokeball, and you swipe, and you throw it at the Pidgey, and you either miss or you hit. And sometimes the Pokemon do fun things, like Pidgey will jump up into the air, or, I don't know, do crazy things like that. And they'll defend themselves because they don't want to be caught. I mean, who wouldn't want to live in a tiny ball? So then when you catch it, boom, it'll say, gotcha, Pidgey was caught, and then you'll have this little thing show up. So you can see, you get Stardust, and you get Pidgey candy. And it'll tell you how much experience. So if it's a new Pokemon, I think it's like 500 or 600 experience, and then like I got a curveball there, so it's extra 10 experience. It'll tell you how much total experience, and then it'll show you this screen. And then the other thing sometimes is Pokemon like to jump out of their balls after you catch them, which is really frustrating. And I don't know if there's a certain mechanical reason behind why. I haven't quite figured that out yet. I thought maybe it was based on difficulty, but I've had really difficult Pokemon do it, and then I've had, like, Weedle do it, and like a CP10 Weedle or Rattata, and I'm like, that's cool. I really wanted to waste that Pokeball on you. So that's frustrating, because, you'll sit there and you'll catch, like, something really cool, and then you'll find a Weedle, and you'll be like, oh, okay, cool, Weedle, and then it'll just pop out of its ball, and it's just really frustrating. Stay on the Pokeball! So yeah. Now, let's say you're just walking around, and you have your phone out in front of you, and you feel it vibrate. That's when you know that there's a Pokemon. I think there's also a sound, but I don't ever have my sound on, so I can't talk about it, because I don't know what it sounds like. But yeah, I feel it when it vibrates, and that's when I know to make sure I'm checking my phone. And sometimes it'll appear behind you, and sometimes it'll appear in front of you, and sometimes it'll be off to either side. So just make sure you rotate your camera so you can find the Pokemon. And then you just catch it from there, and it's pretty fun. So this has been kind of a Pokemon Go Basics 101 little lesson thing. If you have more questions, put them below. There's so many different topics I really want to talk about, and I hope to get to them all in the next couple days so that you learn and we learn and everybody learns together. If you have advice, if you have tips, if you have something you want me to know or include or anything like that, just put it in below, or you can email me. I will leave that email address below so that you can find it easily, and I will see you next time.